Some underworlds punish you after you enter. This one strips you before you get there. That is what makes the Mesopotamian underworld feel so cold. In the ancient story of Inanna's descent, the great goddess of love, kingship, and war sets her heart on entering the underworld, the land of no return. At its threshold stands the gatekeeper Neti. Beyond him lies the realm of her sister Ereshkigal, queen of the dead. And before Inanna is allowed to reach that throne, she must pass through 7 gates. At each one, something is taken from her. Not by accident, not by theft, by right. That structure and hook are exactly how the source draft frames the episode. This is what makes the story so powerful. The underworld does not wait to break you at the end. It begins at the door. Level 1, the land of no return. Before the first gate opens, the myth tells you exactly what kind of place this is. This is not a casual descent into some neighboring realm. It is the land of no return, a domain that normally closes behind whoever enters. The source draft emphasizes 2 things here. First, that Neti challenges Inanna at the threshold of a road whose traveler never returns. Second, that Ereshkigal hears exactly what divine regalia Inanna is wearing and orders the gates to be opened one at a time. And that is the first terrifying move of the myth. Inanna does not arrive in weakness. She arrives in full divine authority. She comes wearing the signs of power. Her headdress, jewels, breast ornaments, pectoral, ring, measuring rod and line, and robe of ladyship. The underworld sees all of it and prepares to take it away. Level 2, Gate 1, the crown removed. At the first gate, Inanna loses the first visible sign of rank, the crown-like headdress from her head. The source draft makes this moment the key to the whole sequence. When she asks why it is being taken, the answer is not improvisation or cruelty. It is ritual certainty. The underworld has rules, and even a goddess enters under those rules. That is why Gate 1 matters so much. The crown goes first because sovereignty is the first thing death negotiates away. Above ground, you can arrive as a queen. Below ground, rank begins to come apart. Level 3, Gate 2, the necklace removed. At the second gate, the lapis lazuli beads around her neck are taken away. And again, the same pattern repeats. Protest from Inanna, ritual certainty from the underworld. The source draft is excellent here. It stresses that the jewels are not mere decoration. They are visible condensations of status, charisma, and sacred legitimacy. By this point, the pattern is unmistakable. The underworld is not humiliating her randomly. It is dismantling her ceremonially. Every gate removes another layer of divine self-possession. Level 4, Gate 3, the breast beads removed. At the third gate, the twin beads from her breast are removed. This is where the repetition itself becomes frightening. The source draft calls attention to that rhythm very clearly. Each threshold looks like just one more stop, but each stop is a subtraction. That is what makes the gates so memorable. Dread no longer comes from surprise. It comes from knowing exactly what will happen next, and being unable to stop it. The story has become mechanical, and that makes it feel ritualistically inevitable. Level 5, Gate 4, the pectoral removed. At the fourth gate, the pectoral on her breast is taken away. The source draft highlights the symbolism here. This is not only a royal ornament, but a charged emblem of attraction, erotic power, and living world charisma. And the underworld does not care. Beauty carries no immunity through this door. That is the larger claim the myth is making now. All the forces that rule the living world, kingship, adornment, desire, majesty, symbolic authority, begin to fail when they cross into death. Level 6, Gate 5, the ring removed. At the fifth gate, her golden ring is removed from her hand. The source draft makes an important point here. This may seem smaller than the earlier losses, but that is exactly why it works. By this stage, the stripping has become intimate. Power is no longer being removed only from the public image of the goddess. It is being removed from the hand itself, the organ of command, exchange, promise, and possession. The descent has moved inward. The gates do not simply disarm Inanna politically. They begin disassembling her personally. Level 7, Gate 6, the measuring rod removed. At the 6th gate, the lapis lazuli measuring rod and line are taken from her hand. This is one of the most fascinating removals in the myth because it suggests more than ornament. As the source draft notes, the measuring rod is a sign of order, allocation, boundary, and perhaps divine administration itself. So now the underworld is taking more than beauty and status. It is taking the tools by which the upper world is organized. Rule, measure, divide, define. None of that belongs to Inanna anymore. This is the moment where the myth goes beyond stripping power and begins stripping structure itself. Level 8, Gate 7, the robe removed. At the 7th and final gate, the robe of ladyship is stripped from her body. This is the hardest blow because it leaves her naked and exposed before Ereshkigal. The source draft explicitly frames this as the completion of the sequence. 7 gates, 7 removals, 7 stages of reduction. At last, the underworld receives her not as queen, but as prey. And that is the real horror of Gate 7. The gates have not merely delayed her. They have emptied her. By the time she reaches the throne room, she no longer enters as a ruler crossing a border. She enters as someone the underworld has already claimed. Level 9, the throne of Ereshkigal. Once Inanna stands before Ereshkigal, the story becomes even harsher. The source draft states this plainly. Inanna tries to take the throne of the underworld. The judges of the underworld, the Inanna, render their verdict. She is struck, turned into a corpse, and hung on a hook. This is not metaphorical humiliation. It is full collapse. This is the point where many myths would end. The invading goddess failed. The underworld queen won. The land of no return kept its name. And that is exactly why the next phase matters so much. Because in Mesopotamian thought, escape from the underworld is not impossible, but is never free. Level 10, the price of returning. After 3 days and 3 nights, help finally comes. The source draft lays out the sequence. Inanna's minister follows her instructions. Enki intervenes. Life-giving aid is sent below, and Inanna is restored. She ascends back through the gates, receiving her items again as she rises. But the underworld exacts a price. She cannot simply walk out. A substitute must be found, and the story turns toward Dumuzi. That final twist is essential, because it proves the 7 gates were never just architecture. They were a contract. You can enter. You may even return. But the underworld does not release anyone without balance being restored. And that is what makes these gates so terrifying. They are not simply doors into death. They're a system for making sure death gets paid. So that is the full gate journey of the Mesopotamian underworld, the land of no return. The first gate, where the crown is removed. The second, where the necklace is taken. The third, where the breast beads are stripped away. The fourth, where erotic and royal ornament fails. The fifth, where the hand loses its ring. The sixth, where measure and authority are surrendered. The seventh, where even the robe of ladyship is gone. Then the throne of Ereshkigal. Then the terrible price of coming back. Many underworlds are frightening because of what waits at the bottom. This one is frightening because it begins at the gate.